Devaswani, Wales District. The amended motion. This annual conference requests the NEC to investigate the viability of setting up a supply network stroke bank agency to provide key workers such as till operators, merchandisers, that members could call upon when needed. These will be mostly ex-retailers who are willing to work in the store for shifts, and the names will be advertised in the Fed by area. This is similar to the Postmaster Association, and they supply staff to cover holidays and sickness. Names will be advertised in the Fed magazine, but there must be no liability to the NFRN. And the rationale behind this is stores are always struggling to get staff and cover for holidays, and the event of sickness, if those members were around the country where ex or retired members could offer their services or help in the stores or cover basic operations to allow members to get time off. The NFRN would advertise the members willing to be on such a list in the Fed, and the retailers could ring them when needed. Please support motion.
Okay, it's amended motion. Speaker.
Dara Dudden, Wales District. I'm here to second this motion. This would be an additional service for our members by calling on ex-retailers, life members, retired members. We're pulling in all that knowledge and expertise to help our members when in need. How many times have you been short-staffed? How many times you struggled to cover holidays? How many times you struggled to cover unpredicted sickness, especially in these times of COVID? This is a way we can help. A simple list of names by order of location to create a much needed staff bank for our independent members to call upon in their moment of need. No liability will be put upon the NFRN, as this will just be a list of names in the Fed with that stated. These members who are in need can call upon Connect maybe, say I need these members for this location, have their phone number. We give the phone number. It's then up to that member to interview that member of staff and say, can you help me? That member needs to have help. They need help. This is a way to do it while giving them experienced staff. Thank you. Please support the motion.
Okay, thank you. Next speaker. No speakers. Sorry? Can't see. Okay.
Manha Patel from South East District, Crawley, is Grinstead Horsham branch. I rise to support this. The idea of setting such an agency or bank will be helpful to many retailers who have the work-life balance, but has to be independent of NFRN organization in order to avoid any kind of liability being raised upon the NFRN. There must be steps taken when such facilitation is being made. So when the investigation, which is the motion is for, is undertaken, it must include the names on list are not vetted or preferred, and certainly not recommended by NFRN. The terms and conditions of contract agreed are entirely between the supplier and the recipient of the service and devoid of any liability to NFRN. Such a list providers may be kept with NFRN helpline or advertised in NFRN magazine with above mentioned caveats or clauses. it may take indicators from other bank or agency already set up by different organization to set ours one up. So I urge you to support this. Thank you.
This is Manhar's maiden speech. Mo.
Thank you. Last year, roughly 10th of October, we were in a position where we had to close our shop because of COVID. I had COVID, my wife had COVID, my son had COVID, and some of the staff and the rest had to self-isolate. So I can understand the reasoning behind this, the Bank of Key workers. I can understand the reasoning behind this. But my concern about this is that if you put NFRN on this, it's a reputational damage. Now, for instance, they're saying that there'll be no liability, but there will be a reputational damage should something go wrong, that the staff member, that the person that comes in, something goes wrong with money or whatever it is, and then the damage would be on us, on the Federation. I do agree in principle with it, but I firmly believe that it's a bad idea. The other thing is that in Scotland, if you're selling alcohol or selling tobacco, you need a licence. I think it's the same exactly here. But for a person to sell alcohol, they need a personal licence or they need to be trained. And if somebody comes in and they don't have the qualifications, they can leave themselves open to prosecution as well, and the shop themselves will have reputational damage unless this is all done as well. And that these are some of the pitfalls. There's a lot more. So that's the reason I'm asking either withdraw the motion or please oppose it.
Okay, that's a request for withdrawal. No. No. Next speaker.
Thank you. Abdul Qadir, Scotland. I'm here to oppose this amended motion because really this is a substitute trying to get the Federation to take on responsibility for what the shopkeeper really needs to do. Shopkeeper needs to have friends, family, they can rely on, not put people they don't know, give them keys and let them serve and empty the tills. So please reject this motion. Thank you.
Okay, next speaker, Peter.
Conference, I rise on behalf of the NEC to oppose this motion and to give you a little bit of history. Many years ago, 20 plus years ago, London District organised exactly the same thing. We had a load of ex-members and we had a register and it was organised by the members of London District as well. But you can put the caveat of no financial liability, but what you can't protect against is the reputational liability as soon as you put the name NFRN, even if it's the name NFRN at the top of the list. Now, in principle, going from the last speaker, not everybody has friends and family to take over, and I have nothing, and we have nothing against somebody setting up some sort of WhatsApp group or social media group, some version of friends of news agents or whatever, and talk amongst yourselves. But what we are really cautious about is putting the NFRN's name at the head of this, because as soon as something goes wrong, it's our reputation that is on the line. Okay, so in principle, yes, do it yourselves, but please keep the NFRN over. London had a really bad experience with this. Many thousands of pounds went missing, and it took a long time to recover reputationally. So please, either withdraw it or vote against it. Thank you.
Okay, that's another request for withdrawal. No. Next speaker.
Hi, Nilesh Patel, London District, London North East Branch. Afternoon conference and President and top table, please. I stand here to oppose this motion. We all know that when the NFRN gets involved in situations like this, there is a liability. We cannot accept that liability. If this situation occurs, then their branch should help in there. And please, please, I oppose the motion. I strongly. Thank you.
Okay, next speaker.
Good afternoon, Vasanta Jasani, North Cheshire branch. I'd like to say we should be against this motion. In principle, it is a good idea, but staff thefts is one of the biggest things we have to deal with. And also, as part of, I'm also a member of the Sub-Postmasters Federation. We are all vetted. We're all vetted, and we've all gone through the process. Now, if you do put the NFRN name on these without actually vetting who is coming into your stores, it's not going to work. The whole idea, the relief system in the post office is they are completely vetted. This motion should be against. Thank you.
Thank you. Vicente, that's your maiden speak conference. Okay, Jason Burks.
Thank you. Jason Burks, I rise on behalf of the NEC. Again, you've heard quite a few of the speakers say about the liability, and this is the problem. You know, the reputational damage this could do at the NFRN could be catastrophic for us. You know, I agree with the sentiment. In principle, it sounds brilliant. It sounds a good idea, but it won't work practically. As soon as the NFRN print these sort of things, endorse it, the NFRN's endorsing it, and it will come back on the NFRN. So please, either withdraw this motion or defeat it, please.
Okay, another request for withdrawal. Okay, well, every member has a right to ask for withdrawal. You actually have a duty to either say yes or no. They've asked for withdrawal again. No. No. Okay, next speaker.
Navin Patel, Brighton Branch, Southern District. I think this motion is only asking NEC to investigate, so I don't know what's there about opposing it. Investigate about the viability of setting up this supply of network. So everyone wants the relief workers every now and then, especially the holiday makers and the jet setters. The only thing you have to do here is to check the credential of those people, relief workers you are going to put on the list, and make sure that they're fully insured and the liabilities are covered. That's all it is. So it's worthwhile investigating and make the proper bank of this. Thank you. Support this motion.
Okay, Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew Taylor, NEC. A lot's already been said about the fact that we don't need this. It's the liability of the Federation that's at stake, and, you know, we can't solve all problems, and Peter's already said that if districts want to get together or branches want to get together and do this on a WhatsApp group or your own way, that's absolutely fine, but it's putting the NFRN name to something like this that just isn't practical, and it's far too dangerous, so please vote against it.
Okay, next speaker.
Diana Rushbrook, South East District. Mr. President, conference. We can't afford to pass this because, as everybody said, it's the liability. Ron and I did holiday reliefs for about 18 years. What I would say, we always went and were interviewed first. I don't see why districts shouldn't compile their own lists. They've known people, retired people, for over many years. They know their characters. All they've got to do is say, do you fancy doing a holiday relief? Here's the phone number of the person inquiring. And there's one thing I would say, if anyone's contemplating doing it, be very careful what you do with the money you earn. Always make sure you declare it somewhere in your books. We had an occasion where one afternoon I got a frantic phone call from somebody whose shop I'd looked after. And he said to me, "I'm so sorry, I hope I haven't dropped you in it." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, I don't know what you do with the money I give you." And I said, "Well, I put it in the bank." He said, "No, what do you do? Do you declare it?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Thank God for that." He said, "I had a VAT inspection and everything was going brilliantly until the young lady who was there said to him, "Where do you keep your float?" And he said, "Oh, I'll show you, in a baking tin above the oven." And she said, "This is ridiculous. It should be in a safe or in the bank." And he said, "You know, that's exactly what my holiday relief lady tells me." And she said to him, "Oh, you have a holiday relief?" He said, "Yes." She said to him, "Who does it? What's their address? What's their phone number?" "Thank you very much. I'm finished with you." She was after us. So he'd phoned me in a panic. And I said, "Don't worry, Alan. I declare it." And about a week later, a young lady came with a fool's cap clipboard. And it was full of questions. And when she turned up, she demanded we both stayed in the room. And she asked us all these questions. And then some of them, nothing to do with VAT. And then when she turned the page, she said, "Do you do any holiday reliefs?" I said, "Yes." And I sort of looked at Ron, tried to keep a straight face. And she said, "Oh, you do?" I said, "Yes." She said, "What do you do with the money?" So being bloody minded, I said, "I put it in the bank." She said, "No, what do you do with it?" I said, "I've told you, I put it in the bank." She said, "But do you account for it?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Where?" I said, "Well, in that large ledger that I showed you earlier, didn't you see it?" She said, "No." I said, "Well, I always put it at the top of every quarter." I said, "It's always listed at the top separately." Oh. She was really upset because she had to leave.
Sorry? You got a seconder? Okay, conference agree? Show? Okay, conference ready to vote? Vote now. Okay. Okay, I don't think that... There's only one person that's not working. I don't think it's going to make a difference. Keypads. That's a big... yeah, it's only 886 non-votes and it's 7,659 against, so that's carried. Lost, sorry. Lost, not carried. God, got knocked by two people on this side.